Hello. How's it going, Ray?
Very
This is
well.
second time.
Yeah.
Isn't that exciting?
Using the fancy new Restream technology.
Exactly. That's how you got to do it, right? I think it makes it very interesting, right? And we can see comments. And right now nobody's watching yet, but I think they're going to get the notification. Oh, we got one watching. That may be me, but we got someone watching here. So we'll just take a look.
Well, truly, we make the show for listeners, and you make it for yourself. And when you're the listener, it sort of all comes together.
There you go. We already got one. But I remember we ended our last conversation. What will be true in a week that is not true today?
Yes.
What was definitely not on my bingo card is that the next time we meet, there will be no tunnel anymore.
Yes. Nordcraft.
Nordcraft,
which sounds like the latest, massively multiplayer RPG from Blizzard.
I mean, maybe that's what they're going for. I was looking up Nordcraft and I was only finding like Minecraft stuff.
Yeah, right. Minecraft like a Viking flavor to it, right?
Yes, actually now I think they call themselves now Vikings or something. So they do add that northern touch to it. It's
well, my wife is half Norwegian, so it's all.
There you go. So
back to the home country.
It does have that touch to it now, and the craft. So it's now all about craftsmanship.
Yes, we're going to craft the North. It's really too easy to sort of make fun of people for these kinds of branding decisions. They're very personal, and they are. It's as much about sort of aligning the team and saying, "Hey, this is what we're about. Hey, let's go." And the team colors that will then allow you to do better, because your customers don't really care. Like another example of that would be WeWeb, right? Also recently changed their branding. They didn't change their name.
Changed their logo. This weird
right.
AI thing, right?
Their logo, their style book, yes. And you're not the only person to have said that's weird, but like similarly, it's like what's going to speak to them so that they can, go out and produce in a way that's going to be, really outsized. And that's that's the job of it. So like when people go create new branding, it's like sort of easy to sort of take a couple pot shots, and sure, they can be funny too. And being funny, I always approve being funny. But but they're just going to do what they're going to do, and the real question is like, how do they create value for us?
Yeah, I mean, I do think their new website looks better than the old one, to be honest.
Are you talking about now about Nordcraft?
Nordcraft. I didn't like the last Tuttle website. I don't know. It wasn't fully like responsive, and the buttons were a little bit too big. I found it a little bit weird, the last website. I liked the one before, but the last one was kind of weird. So I think the website is going into a better direction now. I think it looks more like, because I've done some really nice websites in Tuttle. I was like, they gotta showcase more what you can do with it if it's made in Tuttle, right? You gotta have fancy animations and all that kind of stuff. And I think they're getting there.
Yeah, I mean, if you're going to have if you are selling web development services, you should have a very beautiful website.
So like your new website, by the way.
Oh, my new website also demonstrates I'm not in the game providing web development services, because if I were, you look at that and say, no, we're not going to do that. Yeah, but for me, like the other thing about marketing is that it's an ongoing experiment, right? You put stuff out there, you pay attention to how people are responding to it, you change it, and that was actually one of the reasons why I made the change to the site. Was that it was a little too stuck in its ways, because the editor I was using wasn't making it easy for me to move in a direction that would be really helpful to me.
You see your website right now.
I do now see my website. Thank you so much for putting that up.
You even got an animation on there.
Yes, I made a little animation, little tailwind, layout animation.
I just wanted to say, where did you build it? And you did it in Next.js.
Yep.
There you go.
So I largely vibe coded my way through
Oh.
a Next.js app.
Oh, now there are testimonials there. There you go. I was like, we're going to.
And like some of the most interesting visual elements are plugins like this from Senja.
Oh yeah. Yeah,
Which-
it's like iframe.
Just ones. Yeah.
You get like your wall of love, or what did they call it?
That's what they call it.
Beyond vibe coding.
Yeah.
That's great. So whoever wants to go beyond vibe coding, go on statechange.ai and go on join now and fill in your credit card information, right? There you
Yes,
go.
please do. It's we just had a superb office hours. Actually, all three of the ones this week so far. We had 2 on Monday and 1 so far today, and just like the quality of the questions are coming through, and like the progress people are making is just extraordinary. But really is like that whole beyond vibe coding thing is a big deal.
Yeah, I just said you're always doing very exciting stuff on State Change. Definitely worth checking out.
Thank you. So can I ask, now that you said such kind of things about State Change, what's going on No Code Pro Code, especially now that like you've gone from being very Toddle centric to you had been chomping at the WeWeb bit, and now hey, there's this Nordcraft thing, and
I mean, to be honest, I think that the moment Toddle became Nordcraft, I don't know, it just feels different using it. I don't know, it's just different. I don't know, it's like if you use Toddle, like I don't know, it's just the sound of it. Just like if you use Nordcraft, it sounds like enterprise ready. But jokes aside, I do like the new name. I think their website makes it more sound like I'm actually using legitimate frameworks than just hacking my way through there with a no-code tool, which I appreciate. But yeah, we are definitely, we have some people in office hours who are now using Cursor that graduated from using Toddle to using Cursor. And I've actually built a React app in Cursor, and I was able to render this using React DOM and Toddle. So I was like, why should I just go full React? I just turn the thing that I can't do in Toddle into a React component, build a little SDK, and thanks to your help from years ago, I just kind of like remembered some things, what we did back then, and I was able to get React Flow running in Toddle using React DOM.
Super.
Right? And of course, you want to minify it because it's going to be very big. So I minified it, and then after minifying it, I minified it again. So it's minified.
Yeah, minification. I mean, yeah, those things, and most people have pretty fat bandwidth. I mean, the kinds of bandwidth concerns we had back in 2017 when this was sort of the main focus of discussion, and people can still be quite proud of having a 10 kilobyte web app, but who cares? Like you throw a couple megabytes at somebody, they're never gonna know the difference.
There you go. I mean, mine was like 500 megabytes initially.
That's large. That's certainly large.
It's React. I had to get the whole React thing in there.
Well, yes, and you make a really good point about like minification and of course tree shaking, both of which are going to matter for.
Yeah, I think I got down to like 50. So I think I'm doing well with that, and it works actually well. I mean, you can I built it in Cursor. It took me like 20 minutes building that as a React app, and then I just put the thing that I couldn't do in Toddle as a React component, built a custom component, imported that with NPM. I was even able to host it for free on GitHub, so I got it to JS Deliver and all that. Cursor helped me with the commands. It asked for my GitHub password. I don't know if I exposed something. But it was very easy. Got it on there, and it's now on GitHub, floating around.
Excellent. Can I ask you use the GitHub MCP server in Cursor, or just?
To be honest, I have no idea. I just gave it my password.
Okay. That can happen.
But it works. And I just created a new GitHub only for that. So it's not on the Deskbit GitHub because my developers told me to not do that because we want to make sure that everything is secure in there. So I do have my own little GitHub for my own little crazy ideas. So in case something gets exposed or whatever, it's security compliant. We also have a comment.
Yeah. And
could you both, you can see it actually in the chat. I can show it here.
Yeah.
You both share the exact times when your office hours take place.
That is a perfectly reasonable question. And I have absolutely no idea how to contribute to the chat.
I mean,
But
now it's been, for now it's been. Oh yeah, there you go.
well,
I got your link.
if you could maybe put that up on the Chiron down there or something, we might be able to help Bill and Frank at least know when it comes around for state change.
Yeah, I think I can put something in the chat? Oh no, you can't post to some channels actually.
But you can post it directly on the screen here in front of us, yes?
Yeah, let me post it in the chat. I think I put it in the chat.
Okay.
Now let me try to put it on the screen.
Okay.
We need to set up those links beforehand, but let's see. Let's do this in here. Let's put your link in here. State change office hours calendar. And now I'm going to create this state change office calendar. And now I can show it. And we got it as a QR code.
Oh, well, that's nice.
I can edit it also to just put the link under there. There you go. Look at that.
Right.
I'm
We usually
post this to be good at it.
And we usually post for the current week on there. So if you take a look at the past events, you can get a flavor for like what the usual cadence is.
Yeah.
Over at State Change, we usually have 7 office hours a week, and I think you run like daily, right? Five a
We
week.
do daily 5 times so during the work week. So we do Monday to Friday. I can put my thing up in there too if you're interested in that. We have it every day of the week, 9 a.m. PST, California time. And then what's happening is for Wednesday and Friday, we have it at 3 p.m. for the Australians.
Yes.
Because they told me we don't want to join at midnight. So,
yep.
So we got that Australian approved.
That seems perfectly reasonable. The having it is really a fun thing to have this global audience, be able to build something that people can use all over the world, where people who are coming in middle of the day can pick up people from New York to San Francisco to Sydney, Australia to Seoul, Korea, through Africa, through Eastern Europe, and all the way back around again.
We do have the same thing in my office hours. We got people from all over the world, and it's just interesting and very exciting seeing what people all over the world are building, and that what they're building is all connecting them, right? It's like they are all using the same tools or similar tools, and it's just very great having this place where people can just come together and solve their problems, and just there are also very valuable conversations resulting out of those things.
Absolutely.
Very cool.
So what is so beyond Toddle news? What else have you been seeing?
I just wanted to say Nordstrom, but Nordcraft.
Beyond the fall of Toddle and the rise of Nordcraft. What else have you been seeing in the market this week?
I mean, there has been also the rise or fall of WeWeb. However, I mean, people didn't really like the rebrand. So.
Yeah. It's always. I'm sure people at Toddle are going. The Toddle community might start feeling the same way, right?
Actually, it has been very positive in there. Actually, I've been.
Oh, they have been excellent. I'm so glad.
Yeah. I was like, okay, their Toddle is not there anymore. It's now Nordcraft. Let me rejoin the Discord. Right? There's Toddle. There's not Toddle anymore. I think I found a loophole, and then Andreas said, you're more than welcome to Nordcraft now. So I was like, great.
That is
new start. Sometimes you need a new start, right? Sometimes you need a new start.
So Nordcraft. My understanding is that Nordcraft is also their coming out party for their open source hosting.
Yes, they just released open source today.
Your
instructions on how to actually set it up, at least I couldn't find them, but it is open source. It's on GitHub. You may be able to set it up. I would probably have to ask you how to do it, though.
Yep, fair enough. I was sort of wondering, you often move pretty quick. I was wondering if you're already on top of that, but I kind of figured I'll ask at the end of the week then.
No, it's like there is no documentation yet, so I may need to join State Change and ask you how to set it up, and then we'll piece it together and make a video about it.
That sounds delightful. Okay, so if we move beyond the world of Toddle, what else have you been seeing in the course of last week? Toddle, Nordcraft, whatever. I'm gonna ride or die Toddle. I'm gonna keep on calling it Toddle.
You keep on calling it toddle?
Yeah. Because it's like I knew it from back when.
That's a good point. Like we're the OGs.
It's like GPT engineer as well. It's like that, which
There
is
you go.
that's the original name for Lovable.
There you go. I mean, speaking of Lovable is getting some traction but their apps have lots of security issues because people just use the Squarespace integration, of course. But I did try WeWeb. I do like their approach to AI, but I was like, wow, it's expensive. I'm like done through like 1 million tokens in a day. And,
really? Yeah.
Oh yeah. I mean, I do have it built custom components for pretty much everything because I'm using Upload Care. And WeWeb doesn't have a good event handling system. Remember when we were on State Change and someone asked, how do I emit events from a custom component? And it turns out you can't do it even though the feature exists. So because of that, I just, whenever I build something in WeWeb, I have to turn everything as a custom coded component because they can emit the features. So what I feel is WeWeb has hit a ceiling in how much they want to do or can do in this visual interface. So they've just been putting AI into it to give people all the features they've been asking for a while without actually having to build them right now.
I think that is a really good point.
That's my theory.
And I think it takes us to a broader point about the value of AI in that we can give our users power to express their intent in ways that we didn't have to anticipate. When you are building in visual development, basically any visual tool needs to be something you have designed and presented to the user ahead of time. The way they combine those tools might be very different, but the actual tools themselves are things you have to have created. And there's going to be a gradient, right, between things are powerful, easy to use, reliable, right? Make sure you have all three of those things, and like that's challenging, and that limits your productive capacity. But when you have AI, it's like, hey, here's the meta language, and how can AI express itself into that language, and that can lead to many, many more combinations without having to create the UI elements and facets and widgets that would be required if you
would prefer in WeWeb because in WeWeb you can now do two things. You can use AI to build your custom coded component. You can go all code, or you can go no code. The low code thing is completely left out now because of their AI approach, which makes development for them cheaper, and they have to spend less money on kind of like building all those bells and whistles. Where what I like about Nordcraft, aka Toddle, is I can just bring code in there without having to go to VS Code or without having to use an AI, if that makes sense. It gives me that control where there is an opening, there is a gap, and I can fill that gap with some code. Where in WeWeb, I can't fill the gap myself with some code in their editor. I have to ask the AI to do it for me, and then I can edit what the AI did.
You have to ask AI in order to get the code?
If I want to emit, so it's a very specific thing, but if I want to emit a component event on a component I built in WeWeb, I can't do it natively using wwlib and their custom code. So what I feel is they are relaxing when it comes to the extensiveness of the JavaScript that you can do in it, and they're now focusing more on the view that it can write for you, which I appreciate for people who want prompt to do this. But if you want control over what you're building, I'm not too much of a fan of it, if that makes sense, because it takes some of the control away. Because it's a very specific thing. But if I want to build a custom component that emits, for example, a event when there's JavaScript in it, I can't do that. So I have to turn it into a custom component and kind of like create this component that can have a window function attached to it to then have this provider context component emit the event, and it is kind of like that.
Got it.
And you also can trigger workflows, so you would have to have the workflow ID. So when I build a template, I will need to trigger the workflow with wwlib and then change it again. It's not execute workflow anymore, it's something else. It's like global workflow or something. and I need to hard code the ID. Where in Toddle they have a nicer way where I can just create the workflow and have callback directly in it for the JavaScript code, which I do like. Which WeWeb, like workflows can only go down, but they can't get out of it, if that makes sense. Like you can only get data in, but you can't get data out of it. You would then have to have one workflow call another workflow. So I do feel there is not that much logical completeness in WeWeb. If you want to stay within this low-code visual ecosystem, you can get there with AI, but I think that is exactly why they have added AI, because it would be a lot of work doing, what Toddle has done and adding all of that in there. And it would also, quite frankly, be lots of explanation for the people who already like and use WeWeb as it is. And you don't want to scare off your existing customers.
Well, that's also a good point in terms of where the existing customers are.
Yeah.
So something else I have been wondering a bit about is there's a question like using AI to build these apps, right? And then there's sort of take it a step further, right? And not just how are we building, but what are we building as we look ahead into 2025?
Yeah.
And most of the low-code systems I've talked to, very unimaginative about this. They're solving the thing of like, how can I help my customers today solve the problem that they have today? And there's something reasonable about that, serving your customers. But from a strategic point of view, like, it's sort of look across the market. And you and I sort of have the privilege of being able to talk to, between the two of us, hundreds of people, right, who are building and some of the changes in the way they're building. What are you seeing? That is, where's the puck going in terms of what's going to be getting built coming up later in 2025?
I think most applications that are being built are mainly something that is an AI wrapper. If I take a look at my office hours, almost everybody is building some sort of an AI wrapper or some other kind of API wrapper. I think it has been always the trend. I mean, that's why State Change is State Change AI. I remember when I joined your original promo video. I think you were like sitting in your living room or something, and you were talking about State Change being a consulting firm or something like this. And you say, why is it AI? Because everybody's now building something with AI. And I was like, I like that guy. I want to join his community. And if you're thinking about joining Ray, sign up right now. It's $39. It's the best investment you can ever do. And if you want an even better investment, it's $149, and you'll get much more of Ray.
More Ray. I actually find that the model that we both that we have here, I mean, the people who I've seen working with you, who are building, they're just able to go so much faster because they're able to bring things to your office hours.
Buttons to do the actual work.
Well, yeah, I mean that's sort of the key thing, right? The people who are building want to build, and they just don't want to be stuck. And that's so when people come into like no-code, low-code, no-code, pro-code office hours, yeah, wow, I just can't say that out loud. Anyway, so when they come into your office hours, what they want to do is keep running, and they come in, they get their help, they get their tune-up, and they're able to move on. I have seen other office hours
in no-code, pro-code. We actually have lots of people who are in no-code, pro-code office hours and in your office hours.
Yes. People who are just maxing out, getting whatever help they can from those two sides.
It's way cheaper than hiring someone, and they're probably as productive, if not more.
And like and what is it you need to hire for? I really think there's a high and a low thing here, right? Like you have if you've got the AI that's there to sort of be your lackey, able to take care of a lot of things, but if you give it instructions you don't really understand, it will really go off the rails. And that's really where things go sideways, is when you're trying to give instruction you don't understand. So that means you come and you get educated. Okay, now you can actually use it to then go fast. I mean, just put those two things together, there's a whole lot that you can do. It's not like you need to be doing all this work slugging away yourself. Like, just a little bit of help and a bit of tooling, and the leverage is just enormous. I think in a way that much more so than I think was true even like 12 months ago.
Yeah. And with Claude 3.7, it's actually a big game changer also when it comes to UI.
Yes.
I know what you're using it for.
Right. Claude 3, I mean, yeah, Claude 3.5, the October version was a big what was a huge game changer for being able to do coding, because they finally loaded up with some real recent code, both on the Python and the JavaScript side. And then 3.7, I mean, it behaves a little differently, but I find it to be fantastic for getting done the things I need to get done. Allows me to move very quickly. In fact, I've got it on my
Never
screen
use
here.
ChatGPT for coding anymore since Claude. It's just not that good.
Sorry, what?
I never use ChatGPT for coding anymore. It's just not that good like Claude.
Oh, interesting. Have you tried using, 04 or 4.1 for it?
I tried all of them. It just doesn't get NPM right. Because like what I found is Claude is really good when I tell it, my prompt for using something in Toddle is, I have this proprietary framework. The code needs to be written exactly like this. You can't go off the rails. Just keep using it, even if it doesn't make sense, and follow my instructions. This is about my prompt for AI to write some code that I can use in Toddle. And then it's like, I have to run this code all over again. So you need to make sure that first it can run on multiple instances, components, and if it runs many times after each other, it can reinitialize the component. If I do it in ChatGPT, it's like, it just goes wild.
Yeah, sure.
With Claude, it's really good at understanding the specifics of the code that you need to be generated, because you're generating React code, so you can fly with both, but I'm generating Toddle code, so I need some guardrails around what it actually does for me.
That makes sense. So just coming back around to the question of what is being built, right? We talk about how to build, like 3.7, okay, pretty useful, over Sonnet from Anthropic. But what are you seeing getting built, and what do you see as sort of around the corner for getting built? I mean, you talked a little bit about like adding AI to apps. Okay, that's interesting. Like, where is that? Where do you think that puck is sliding to?
I do think most people are going to build some sort of AI wrappers. I think there's one in State Change. He's building an AI Chrome extension, right? And we have lots of people in No Code Pro Code who are also building some sort of AI application. Everybody is using AI in some part of their product, even if it's not advertised as AI. That's kind of like what I feel. But in No Code Pro Code, we see actually lots of people who are building B2B applications. I think that's also what happens in State Change. I don't think there's too much B2C. More is like B2B, where people have a specific way how to approach a problem. We have one, he's building like a social media scheduling app for businesses. So he's putting his expertise as a marketing expert, as an influencer, into building such an application. We have another one. He is building an application for, he's building applications for his clients who need internal applications for marketing processes. So he's a marketer, and he turns those ideas into products for his clients that they can use to then automate internal flows. So they don't have to use ChatGPT. They have their in-house solution trained on their data. And so there are two kinds of ways how you can provide lots of value with AI. So you can build AI systems for other people, or you can build them for consumers and just sell it like a product. So we have, I think it's equally, there is the B2C side of B2B, and then there is the B2B side of B2B, if that makes sense. Where you do like more of the enterprise engagement, where you actually build custom software for the user and kind of like keep getting paid to keep it running for them and all that kind of stuff.
Okay.
What about State Change? What trends are you seeing in there?
Right. So I'm definitely seeing people building things that are beyond just web apps, right? I'm seeing people building extensions. I'm seeing people building, there's big demand for discussion of MCP, which is the Model Context Protocol, for basically being able to integrate an app directly with an AI front end, right? So basically, I've sort of seen bringing AI inside your app and then bringing your app to AI. And the first of those is relatively straightforward. That's the kind of thing you've built, right? For No Code Pro Code, right? You've got like the bot that's sitting inside your community, and that's a perfectly fine thing to do, and then creates a lot of value. But I think the other one is like where things I really like what's weird, right? And what's going to be, and what can also decrease your exposure to all this front end work, because as that starts getting tooled away, like where's the value now? And I kind of wonder if there's going to be like a significant market for people to be making MCP servers for these various apps that exist, so that people, instead of having to come into your site and use your site in order to get the value of your service, can just be using the same, interface that they like the
Recently
ChatGPT
built,
interface, or Claude interface, or whatever, or
I just
Cursor.
I actually just built an app for as a custom GPT. So I actually connected that already and works actually very well. I run with it. I built an API in Xano. The nice thing is with ChatGPT is you can connect it with Xano without having to wait till they release their MCP feature.
Yes, and also without having to create some other kind of MCP middleware.
Yeah.
I think the MCP spec
I
itself.
also built an MCP for Xano's new NPM. So you can end on MCP like a tool in ChatGPT. You can actually, it's called Xano Lambda, and you can look it up. It's on the ChatGPT store. It's free. And if you download it, you can use it to just tell the AI what you want to do. It'll find with web search the best NPM packet to do it, and it's going to create code that actually can run in Xano, and you can just paste it. And sometimes you'll see error on line so-and-so. That's not the issue with the code they generate. It's because Xano NPM doesn't support every NPM packet yet.
It does not. This is true, but it supports quite a lot. We just
support profanity filter, in case anybody from Xano is watching this.
Sorry, what?
It doesn't support the profanity filter NPM. We needed it for some use case in our office hours. We got sometimes weird office hours.
Okay. Yes, their Lambda functionality is pretty powerful. We were just working in office hours for submitting a video and getting basically video understanding using Gemini through a Xano Lambda. Because the new Xano Lambda, we can download files, we can process them, we can ship them up to Gemini, we can wait for things.
FastGen used to be?
Well, yeah. FastGen, I always thought FastGen's big competitive advantage was that they had these code steps. And they had them for both Python and they had them for JavaScript. Xano went a different way. They said, we don't really know how to support that right now. And so they kind of stayed back. I thought that the code step was going to be a bigger deal for FastGen than it was. As it turns out, FastGen never really made that much in the way of sales, had much bigger opportunities elsewhere, and they just pivoted to something else. The Xano now has its code step in the form of the new Lambda. It's pretty darn powerful. It is JavaScript / TypeScript because it uses the Dino engine as opposed to using actual Node.js. But it works. It works pretty well. I do think this is going to open up a new UI can of worms for Xano, where people are going to be looking to be using Xano as a code editor, right? And Xano's features as a code editor are weak, but they have the opportunity to become good. They're certainly using the same underlying technology like VS Code and Cursor, whatever it does, use like the Monaco editor. But there's some pieces to make it a kind of first-class coding environment that you're used to working in some of these other environments too.
I mean, we both have seen some things in the Xano Insider Discord that we can't talk about because there's an NDA, but I think they're going into the right direction with what they're doing.
Yeah,
they're getting close with all the things that they're doing that we can't talk about because they're toxic.
Well, right. They have said publicly there's going to be XanoScript.
Okay.
They have said publicly they're going to.
I'll just let you say all the stuff, so I'm off the hook.
Right. They announced the MCP servers, the MCP support. They announced early this month, and their little kickoff that led to them their first release, which was the text template editor, which I think was also sort of a big deal.
It was your idea, right? Like Daniel told me, I think it was your idea, or someone told me it was your.
Sweet of them to give me credit, but let's be clear, I don't work at Xano. They do, and they built it, and it's a good piece of engineering, and definitely feather in their cap. And what I think is also neat about it is sort of the way I've seen such fast pickup on it, because there's big demand for people to be building. Like I sort of was thinking about why is this such a big deal in Xano? And yeah, sure. I made this pitch to them before, and when I was suggesting they should go down the road of maybe thinking about a feature like this. Was that the Xano right now historically has been all about structured data, right? Which was great for building a REST endpoint. But the way that we work with AI in particular doesn't call for structured data, it calls for text. and manipulated text. The irony is the technology that Xano uses underneath, which is called PHP, its first use case and its first class support is for manipulating templated text. Like that's what it does all day long. Someone who's used PHP back in like 2000 is like, wait, this is what it was for. And now it's sort of like coming home to mama. And now it is that's what you're able to do in Xano. And people are doing that, and I'm doing this too, and then like submitting it to one of these APIs, right? Like, hey, I've got my prompt; it's been set up, so complicated text. But it also lends itself to like other systems that might just want more natural language, which I think we're going to see a lot more of in sort of the more AI-driven world, a shift from structured data to textual data.
I also actually had a no-code tool company reach out to me, and they just wanted to get my opinion. How sweet is that, right? They just wanted to get my opinion on their tool. I'm curious about your opinion on it, so let me share my screen here.
Yeah.
You let me know if you can see it, because I'm curious what you think about it. I think it's interesting. Do you see my screen?
No. Now I can.
Now you can. Can everybody? Oh yeah, I think everybody can see it.
Now you have infinite mirror going on, but now we're good. Okay.
Okay, there you go. So I actually found this tool. They found me. They reached out to me on the email that's on my YouTube, and it's a no-code web app builder for full stack from front to back end. So they're kind of like going after Bubble here, where you can do your data. You got your dynamic data, you got your components, you got your logic, right? And then you have, and the logic is kind of like also front end and back end. And then you got your design, right? So you got your data, your APIs. They actually got server-side rendering. And it's pretty interesting because they also have some AI agent features in it, because everything is now AI. So you can actually build AI agents in there, bring your own model, bring your own API key. And they have like tool support, and their AI can call APIs that you can set up. It goes beyond what Bubble can do. But of course, in being a full stack tool, it's not right now there because they're very new, very, very new. But I think they're going into the right direction. Of course, they do have those pre-made integrations with Stripe, data protection, scalable team collaboration, which is actually pretty nice. And yeah, so I did play around with it, and I actually had a great meeting with their CEO. I think we talked for like 2 hours, and he was just like very curious about what I think about it, my feedback, and kind of like to listen to some improvements, how they can make it better, what I would love to see it. It was a great conversation. Now you looked at it a little bit. What do you think about those kinds of tools? They're like the full stack tools, but you can of course also bring REST APIs into it.
Right. I mean, they've been around for a couple of years, right?
They've been I think 1 year, but they've been way bigger in China than they are in the US right now. So they're actually, I think, the biggest no-code tool, or one of the biggest ones in China. And now they're kind of like going into the US.
Interesting. And I saw the DeepSeek link on the very top, so that sort of furthers the Chinese connection there. Okay, well that's it's neat. They've been around a little bit for that. But what do you think about one thing I look at with those kinds of tools is like it's when it's integrated, that means I'm not just buying code generator, right? I'm buying a hosting platform, right? So it's
The nice thing about them is they're actually React based. They run on React, Vite, and TypeScript. So I think it's actually the first no-code tool I found that actually uses React.
Yeah, I find most no-code tools don't use React. That's a reasonable point.
So I talked with their CEO. He said, like React, you can't dismiss the platform capability of React. So he wanted to build it on top of React, so you can bring in React Flow very easily. You can bring in all those SDKs. You can bring in everything that the React ecosystem supports, which is quite neat. And they do actually have a feature where you can open it in VS Code for your custom coded components. You can edit them, and in real time, you can see it in the dashboard.
Well, that's pretty useful.
Connect with localhost. So that's actually quite cool. It's a little bit like Noah. For Flood.
Right, Noah has that, and actually the flow for building coded components in WeWeb looked like that historically as well, before they had sort of more the AI first way of doing it. Okay, I mean that's cool. They're out there. What kind of what kind of market penetration they have, because they really aren't showing very much. Like their wall of love is a few indies, but they're very big in China. I mean, like what's really the scale of the organization?
I'm not completely sure about that, but I think they're a team like they told me like of 15 engineers. So there is some size to them. But I think it's just very early for them. But they showed me what they are planning to add, and it looks very promising. I don't think it is something that I would like build a very big application on right now. I think it's a very good Bubble competitor. I wouldn't build a very big application Bubble right now. I think right now it's a very valid solution to Bubble if you're considering Bubble. But if you're considering something like WeWeb or Toddle, I think just wait a year and I think they'll be there.
Interesting. Yeah. And be there for what? What do you imagine is the use case?
I do think it will be very nice for applications where you want to have the backend and the front end in one place. They are really going on accelerating the development for AI wrappers because their technology for building AI agents that connect with the front end is novel. So if I take a look at Jerry, who's building kind of like AI agent internal interfaces for his clients, I think he'll definitely be able to make good use of something like Moment to just build those way faster because it's most of the time it's just table stakes, right? And they have those AI agentic automations with tools, something like MCP already set up, and you can just have the front end and the back end in one place. So that is quite unique, and for what it does, is actually quite cheap. And it just lets you spin up those things quite fast. Actually, we have a comment about this. Is it possible to export the code with this tool? I talked with your CEO. Right now, it's not possible. But you can bring your React code into it, so you can do it the other way around. But I think it's an interesting tool. I may make some videos about it once there are a little bit more features that kind of like touch the hardest parts, because what we do on this YouTube channel here, and me and Ray both, we kind of like more touch the harder parts of visual development.
Yeah. Yeah, that's cool. And like the fact that it has that bridge out, would love to see we'll love to see a demo of that, like get ourselves going with it.
Yeah, I think you should definitely try it. I think it's very interesting. It's a very interesting tool. Any new interesting tool that you found that someone approached you with or that you discovered somewhere on the internet? Anything cool on your side?
The thing I've looked at most recently that I found to be fun is Unicorn Studio. Have you used that one yet?
No, I haven't.
Yeah, well, Unicorn Studio is a visual development tool for making basically making 3JS elements and special effects and artifacts. So like I can bring it up here.
Yeah. You know how to share your screen? You need my help with that, or?
Looking okay?
I think it's coming through. Yes. But right now, I think at your. Oh, I just wanted to say we're at your Spotify, but it doesn't. No, it's. I think that's Unicorn Studio.
This is Unicorn Studio. So the idea here is that you have. I mean, there are things that other people have built, but the vision behind it is that it is a tool that allows you to make these special effects, and creating something that might look like this, based on the.
Is it running this on your website?
And then and they basically create artifacts that you could either as that you can embed as code, right, if you go buy the thing, right, and then or as embeds, to basically be able to put these special effects on your site and then be able to control the way that they control the way that they look. So you can decide what the core images, what the and then
kill your SEO, right?
Well, the question is, like, your SEO isn't driven by this kind of element.
Of course, it is like your load times, but
right. So there's a little bit of SEO art of making sure this thing loads after your initial load, so it doesn't count against you for having a slow site. But it becomes the kind of thing that you can also tie into interactivity, in terms of being able to see what how things behave. You sort of see the change in like the background here.
If you can add that into Toggle, I think it's the ultimate. It's the ultimate Webflow killer.
Well, the neat thing is it's just about doing the special effects, right?
Nordcraft.
And here you can also see how it's not strictly done through a it's loading in the JavaScript, right? So it's coming directly.
Yeah.
And then you can also export it as like a MP4 video or something. I think
in something. Do you want to integrate this in something? Show us how to add it.
You want to do a demo right now?
Yeah. I mean, if you want to send me the code, I can show you how to integrate into Toddle.
Yeah, you should totally spin this thing up. The thing I find really neat about this kind of system is how it is using these visuals for getting outside of just
either. You're on a wait list for it. I'm not on the wait list.
Oh yeah, you go sign up for the wait list. It clears pretty fast. But the creating things that aren't just standard web apps, that's what I find to be most exciting here. Is why I find MCP to be pretty exciing. Like on the front end, it's going to be exciting.
You want to send me the code for the diff block real quick? I think it would be interesting if we can see if we can integrate this in Toddle. Northcraft. Do we have something like with a pine tree or something on there?
Let me just see here if I can get this component. Oh, it actually has a Framer component. You want to put it in Framer.js?
Let's do it in Toddle. Let's see if it can work in Toddle. So I think I just need the JavaScript one.
Yeah, sure. Here you go. I'm going to put it into our private chat. We're going to see if this works. Private chat, go.
Private chat. I did not know about that. Where the heck is the private chat? Oh, there you go.
Yeah.
I got it. Okay, let's copy that. Okay, let me start sharing my screen. This will be interesting. We're doing interesting stuff here. Let's share that. Do you see my screen?
Yeah, sure.
There you go.
I got mirror. There we go. There.
Now we are at, look at that, the new logo. Nord. It's still on Toddle Tab. But it's Nord Stream. Not Nord Stream, what was it? Nordcraft. Okay. Let's do this animation. We'll create this as a component. And we're just going to paste it in here. We're going to import. Did it import it? Oh, yeah. There you go. It did import the product ID. Let's actually try going to HTML Online Viewer, because I think we got to structure it a little bit. Okay, I got it in here now. So let's do format. And we got this script. So we do text JavaScript. We'll have a function. Do we need the exclamation point in the function? Right?
I'm trying to look a little more closely at it. Does it have an exclamation point? Okay, so bang.
Do we need that?
Not clear to me that the exclamation point really would matter in there, but I don't know.
Let's try it. Let's just add a custom action here. Let's actually first beautify the code. Let's go to JS formatter. There you go. I still don't know the keyboard shortcuts for like the Monaco code editor, so let's go to Nordcraft. Getting used to it. Animation. And now we can create this. We can do like a little package here. And then I have the source, Unicorn Studio. I think that's
it. And right now, as it takes it, so clearly it's creating a script tag, which is shoving at the bottom. All right. And then I'm pretty sure that it wants to have a div somewhere on there that has this data.
We got the JavaScript, so we got to go into the component and then unload of the component, run the JavaScript. So now we got the div in here. So if I reload it, oh, look at that.
Yeah.
We got a fancy animation. Look at this. I can just do, ooh. Isn't that cool?
And you can replace that little, lightsaber or whatever it is with what we're looking for. And that background image is just an image that gets swapped out. So that can be like a screenshot or something. There's lots of fun, silly things you can do with this.
Yeah, we just do with 100%. And then we'll just reload the page, and then I have my look at this animated background in Toddle with like, see how it just moves? Nordcraft. There you go.
Your
That's
animated Nordcraft website, just by integrating this other little doodad.
There you go. And now I got it as a component, so I can just add it. And I think I gotta reload the page. And then I got it here. Look at that. Isn't that cool? And I can add text over it, and I can add a div over here and make it absolute and make it with 100%. And we're going to make a little, and let's do a new landing page for state change. Let's do, in here, we'll add an H1, and I'm going to do a join state change.ai. We're going to center it. We're going to give it white background. Ooh, there you go. And now if I reload the page, we got a very fancy state change landing page. Look at that. Ooh. There you go. Look at that. I think we're doing
like, but that's what I look for. I actually have this idea like weird no code. I look for what are tools that allow me to do things that were otherwise hard or strange to do, and where do the AIs allow me to do things that are like more than just table stakes.
Someone just said wow.
Yeah.
That's cool. We just made like a little, you got a new landing page. If you want that, let me know. I'll share that project with you.
Yeah, and you can actually export the code, which will make it run even faster and blah blah blah.
Very nice.
Yeah, but that's the kind of weird thing I look for. So if anybody on here who's watching this says, oh wait, I know something really weird no code tool, please put that into the comments of this video. We'd love to see it.
We should do like next time we're going to just talk about weird no code tools.
I'm down with that.
Get a list together. I'll get a list together, and we're trying to on camera set the weirdest things up and mix and match them together.
I like that. We've got ourselves a plan for our next live stream. Same, in the right here on this channel, wherever it is you're seeing it. Of course, I appreciate it's going to be on the No Code Pro Code channel. It should also right now be on the State Change channel, and even the State Change LinkedIn right now.
Ooh, that's why we got 5 people watching. Look at that. Wonderful. And also take a look at statechange.ai on YouTube and subscribe to Ray's channel. It's definitely worth checking out. And also take a look. Here's his office hour schedule. We got that here. You can scan the QR code and take a look at that. And you can also join his community at statechange.ai to get access to daily office hours, mental models, and tools to solve your hardest 5% on low code, no code / vibe coding.
Yes, vibe coding. We need to. We need to do like a survey. Get people to give us a better word than vibe coding.
Accelerated development.
Accelerated development.
And if you're more concerned about the front end and how to make your buttons look nice, you can also join nocodeprocode.com. And if you want a beautiful t-shirt like this, smile, ship, repeat, my slogan for this YouTube channel, it's somewhere down this video where you can purchase that t-shirt. I think it's only $20, and it's beautiful. I think it's cotton or something. It's a beautiful t-shirt with a beautiful message. I feel like we're doing like live shopping or something here. Oh, I think we lost Ray. Or did we lose me? No, I think we lost Ray. Ooh, let me DM him. Let's see. Oh no, on YouTube we see I'm moving. Ray's not moving. Let me just text him. We lost you. There you go. Oh yeah, now we lost him completely. Oh. Okay, let's wait if he comes back in 2 minutes. If not, this is going to be a very awkward ending today. Does anybody have any questions in the comments that we can help with before we bring this to an ending? Let's see if there's something in the chat. Let's just activate the chat here on the site. And let's go over it. Oh, we got Ray. Ray's coming. I was just improvising because you were gone. I was starting to read some of the comments.
Well, apparently we lost our connection, and I apologize for that little technical difficulty there.
Perfect. I just ended it as I always do with some advertisement, but now I can put it again away. But also, we got one comment. Actually, that comment may turn into advertisement.
Yeah. Let's talk about Despia. Before we go, tell us what's coming down the road with Despia.
We're actually right now, we got the whole version 3 dashboard done. We got the whole version 3 framework done for iOS and Android. So we're done with that. One thing that we are not done yet is the automated distributing for Android, which has been right now in Despia a painful process because you actually had to export the code, open it on Android Studio, publish it yourself, sign it, manage your key store. So what we're done with is that we manage the key store for you. You can export it anytime. You can bring in your own key store. We'll build that app for you on our M2 machines for you. We'll send it to the App Store. One thing that's not done is actually we need to replace the name of the app, because right now if you use it with our automated publishing for Android, that's the only thing that's stopping us from shipping it out there. Your app will be called Despia Framework. So we need to adjust our CodeMagic YAML file to actually replace that name with your app name. That's the last thing. It's always those small things that hold you back, but I'm very confident that we have good news next week. But I'm not going to promise anything. It is what the only thing missing is replacing a name of an app name. Shouldn't be a big thing. It's actually quite a simple thing, but I can't make any promise. I don't want to get your hopes up. But the framework is done, and we are definitely going to have V3 for iOS next week with widgets and app clips and all that exciting stuff, and reading users' clipboard. And I think we lost Ray again. But I hope that answers your question. And if anybody wants to try the V3 editor with a little bit of bugs, and if you're not necessarily wanting to publish a good Android app right now, because I wouldn't suggest using the V3 pipeline to publish the Android app, I would use V2 because it just works way smoother, and there has been more testing to it, and it's just more reliable. But if you want to still test it out, definitely put a comment in there, or contact the support, and we will be able to set that beta up for you, because we definitely need some people who are willing to test it before we'll release it. But thank you, Johnny, for that question. And we lost Ray again. Let's see if he comes again. In the meantime, since we've been talking about Despia, you can also scan this QR code here to, I feel like we're doing something like TikTok live shopping or something. You can also scan this QR code here and take a look at Despia and, start your project for free and, get that all set up. There you go. I'll be waiting for Ray. Let's see if we can get him back. Oh, we got Ray back. There you go. We got you back again. We gotta hurry up and ending this now.
We have to wrap this up because one of the I live in a rural part of the world, and sometimes it is the connection isn't totally perfect, but very rarely do I have this kind of problem. So I certainly apologize to you. You've seen everyone else who's watching.
No worries. We got one last question. Let's do this quick. Would you say no code pro code is beginner friendly? Ray, what's your impression on that?
I think your community is much more beginner friendly than mine is. My state change is deliberately focused on this question of the hardest 5%. I would say people who are just getting started with their journey. There are lots of other resources, including Yassine's, that are much more about helping you climb those earlier parts of the learning curve. Where state change is at strongest is going to be where, hey, you've gotten to a certain level, and now like you're at that point where like issues are really weird, right? And that's the kind of thing that I enjoy the most. We sometimes joke about this 5% versus 10%, but I would say that if you are serious about building, right, but you're a relatively beginner, that would still be a good fit for your scene. If you are serious and you have come along and it's like you're using other resources and those resources aren't helping you as much as like you really are in that last 5% territory, that's really when I would recommend coming to state change. We have lots of people who've been members of ours for a couple of years, but it tends to be after they have gone through that first part of their journey.
Yeah, we actually have lots of members who started out a year ago with No Code Pro Code and who recently, canceled their No Code Pro Code subscription and moved to state change because they're just evolving in the process, right? And they are just looking for, okay, now I know how to make buttons work. I know how to do API calls. Now I don't want to use Xano anymore. I want to use Supabase. I want to go beyond that. I don't want to use Turtle anymore. I want to use React, and then raise your guy.
Cool. All right, let's bring in Orlando.
Those things than I am. But I think No Code Pro Code is at its strength. If you are within the Turtle ecosystem, if you're within the no code ecosystem, you try to stay within that ecosystem, and you either need help getting started in that ecosystem or you need getting help, keeping up your momentum within that ecosystem. Once you're trying to look outside of that ecosystem, you got to have Mr. React here.
Mr. React. And there's also a little bit of a front end back end thing too,
Yes.
where you are a very talented front end. You know your way around the back end, but I think the weird back end stuff.
I learned it all from you. I built a pipeline in Xano to put 2,000 files together to build an iOS app. I couldn't have done it without being 2 years a member in state change.
Very cool. All right. Well, on that a very kind note, let's bring this in for a landing before I lose my connection again.
Yeah, you have a motivational. Let's do it like this. You'll do a motivational outro, and I'm going to put up your advertisement here. Look at that.
Oh yeah. Well, let me make
full screen so it's even more motivational. Look at that. There you go.
There's so much new software that I think we're going to be building in the course of this coming year, and I'm really looking forward to next week because it's going to be weird stuff, and I think new weird tools that are about how we create really extraordinary value is going to be just what's next. And I can't wait to continue doing these vidcasts with you, Yassine, and learning about how people who we've seen and what we see in the market are helping us make those what's going to be next for software.
I think that's a wonderful way to end it. Thank you so much for your time, Ray. I really appreciate that, and we'll see each other and all of you next week.
Thank you.